So in this video I'm going to read the next two chapters for you. Unforeseeable anomalies. When the boy opened his eyes again, he couldn't think for a moment where he was. But then the faint taste of salt on his lips, the smell of damp fur, and the sound of oars dipping into the water, splish, 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 all helped remind him. And then his bleary eyes focused and he saw the bear. Ah, yes. He sat up, shrugging off a tatty blanket that had been draped over him, and blinked hard twice. I think that's really important there. The fact that he'd fallen asleep and then the bear had put the blanket over him, that's an act of kindness, isn't it? It's something that we only really do to people that we care about. That's a really interesting point there. I think it tells a lot about the bear. Then he looked past the bear. There was still no sign of land ahead of them, but there was no sign of the land they'd set out from behind them either. In fact, in every direction, all he could see was sea and sky. He looked at his watch, but it showed exactly the same time now as it had when they had set off. Another really important part there. This sentence made me think of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. When they go through the portal into the new world, when they come back again, time had stood still and it hadn't changed. It happens in quite a few stories of when characters go into special portals or go through on special adventures, the time in the real world always stands still. I don't know if that's true here. It just made what it made me think of. He held it to his ear, but it was silent. It stopped, he said sleepily. The bear looked at him, as if noticing him for the first time. Good morning, said the bear. The boy stared at him with wide awake eyes. What? He said. Good morning, said the bear again, a little puzzled. Morning, said the boy. Yes, said the bear. It's morning, said the boy. Yes, said the bear. So it's tomorrow, said the boy. The bear considered this. Well, no, he said. Obviously it can't be tomorrow, can it? It's today. It's always today, isn't it? But yes, it is the today that was tomorrow yesterday, if you see what I mean. So I slept all night, said the boy. I thought I'd just had a nap. Oh no, said the bear. You were asleep for hours. But, said the boy, frowning, doesn't that mean we should be there by now? I know you said it would take a little while, but I thought you meant an hour or so, not all night, so shouldn't we be there, or at least be able to see it by now? Oh, I see what you mean, said the bear. Well, yes, normally we would have arrived by now, but unfortunately there were unforeseeable anomalies in the currents, and we had to adjust our course a bit, so now we're running a little behind schedule. Sorry. Oh, I see, said the boy. He didn't see at all. But are we nearly there? Not really, no. The boy's face fell. A really interesting reaction from the boy. If this was me, I would start to panic big time. But the boy's face just fell. He's just a bit upset about the news. Strange reaction, in my opinion. But everything is in hand, said the bear. Don't worry. The bear stopped rowing, pulled in the oars, and with a little difficulty took out from under his seat a large battered suitcase. He opened it up and took out a folded up piece of old yellowed paper. He rather clumsily unfolded it and then held it in front of him as if he were reading a large newspaper. The side that the boy could see was unmarked except for a few smears of dirt and a squashed bug. But one corner had flopped over so that the boy could see just a little of what was printed on the other side. There was a corner of blue with a grid marked over it and numbers along the edges. So at least the bear had a map. That was reassuring. The bear examined the map closer. In fact, The boy could see from his side a bump in the paper where the bear's nose was pressed against it. The bump moved about a bit, and the bear hummed and mumbled to himself. Then the bear folded up the map, which took him 3 attempts, put it back in the case and took out a telescope. He put it to his eye and looked out across the sea ahead of them, and hummed and mumbled some more. Then he put the telescope away, and with a little more difficulty than it had taken to get it out, put the case back beneath his seat. "Is everything all right?" said the boy. The bear shook off a little frown and turned a smile in the boy's direction. "Oh, yes," he said. "Absolutely tickety-boo. Now, for me, something's not right here, is it?" He's frowning, he's looking at all of his maps and his telescopes. Part of me thinks he might be lost. I don't know, absolutely not tickety-boo. And for some reason, he's decided to lie to the boy about the fact that everything is tickety-boo. The boy assumed that tickety-boo was a good thing. "Just need to keep an eye on where we are. Don't want to run into any sea monsters, do we?" said the bear. The boy was a bit alarmed by this until he realised that the bear was joking. At least, he was fairly sure he was joking, though he chose not to ask. "And are we nearly there yet?" said the boy. "We're well on our way," said the bear. The boy shivered and picked up his coat. "By the way," said the bear, "did you happen to bring any food with you?" So, with my knowledge of bears, this is a very delicate subject, because my knowledge of bears is that bears eat anything. And there's a boy here that if the bear gets too hungry, will the bear turn on the boy? Don't know. It's an interesting place to leave the chapter. And the next chapter is called Breakfast. The boy hadn't been hungry before the bear had mentioned food, but now he was ravenous. He freed his bag from beneath his seat and set about the food that he had brought with him. He ate both his sandwiches, cheese and pickle, one of each, one bag of crisps, a banana, and 3 of his favourite fizzy blackcurrant sweets that turned his tongue purple. And he drank a bottle of ginger beer. The bear ate too. He took out a large, scratched and dented metal lunchbox from under his seat and extracted from it one small triangular sandwich with the crusts cut off. Interesting choice. Ate it with great delicacy in many nibbled bites, savouring each one. A strange smell wafted over the boy. "What was in that?" he said. "Broccoli, sherbet and gooseberry," said the bear. "Delicious." "That's a good big lunchbox you've got," said the boy. "Oh, yes," said the bear, contemplating its contents once again. "I'm not really a big eater, but I like to bring along plenty of sandwiches just in case." "Just in case... in case of what?" "Oh, you know," said the bear, daintily selecting another sandwich. "Emergencies." "And," said the boy as casually as he could, "do you have a lot of emergencies?" "Oh, you know, a few," said the bear brightly. "They keep life interesting, don't they, emergencies?" He took a small bite from the sandwich. Anchovy, banana and custard, yum." When he had finished, he put the lunchbox away and set back to rowing, away from the nothing at all that lay behind them, and on towards another lot of nothing at all ahead of them. So we found out that actually this bear seems pretty useless at taking people to places. These emergencies, I imagine, are the bear getting lost quite a few times, amongst anything else that could go wrong at sea as well. Splish, splish, splish. It wasn't that the boy was worried exactly. He was sure that the bear knew what he was doing. Well, fairly sure anyway. He would just have been happier if he could have seen land, or another boat, or anything really that wasn't sea or sky. There wasn't even an aeroplane. There weren't even any aeroplanes or birds or clouds to look at, which was a bit odd and a bit boring. Idly the boy dunked his empty pop bottle into the sea and brought it up full of sea water. He turned it over, watching the thin torrent of falling water, catching the light and listening to the glugs and splashes that it made. Then he did it again. Twice was enough, it turned out. It wasn't that interesting. He sighed and contemplated the bar of chocolate in his bag. He loved chocolate, but on balance decided not to have any just yet. He would save it for later, in case of emergencies. The bear was singing to himself as he rode now, in a sweet, high, quavering voice. It reminded the boy of his gran, singing hymns in the kitchen while she did the washing up. The bear sang so softly that the boy could make out neither the words nor the tune, but it was clearly quite jolly, whatever it was, and that was rather reassuring. The bear certainly seemed to enjoy his work, grinning as he sang as he rode. The boy decided not to disturb him with any of the questions he would like to ask. Instead, he took a look around. That didn't take long. Outside the boat was the same view in every direction. Inside the boat, there wasn't space for very much that might be interesting to look at. The bear kept the bottom of the boat absolutely clear. He had even been careful to gather up his sandwich crumbs and put them in an old treacle tin that he used as a bin. And anything that might be worth looking at was stored under the seats in a jumble of shadows. It was a mess, and a rather boring one, just old tins and packets and boaty things and no toys at all, apart from, curiously, a small yellow plastic duck. The boy stood up rather unsteadily and stretched his limbs. He would have liked to walk, but had to settle for shuffling round in a tiny, wobbly circle in the cramped space between the rear and middle seats. He shuffled and scuffed and wobbled, and then, frustrated and bored, sat back down and sighed quietly. Then the bear failed to notice. Then, when the bear failed to notice, he sighed loudly. The bear looked up. "Are you bored?" said the bear. He seemed rather puzzled by the idea. "Well, yes, a bit," said the boy. "Bored?" said the bear. "How can you be bored? I don't understand it. Out on the sea on a beautiful day in the best little dinghy in all the world. What could be better?" "Arriving," said the boy, but the bear took no notice. "Bored, eh? Well, I suppose you'd better try the complimentary on-board entertainment, then," said the bear. "On-board entertainment?" said the boy, smiling expectantly. "Oh, yes," said the bear. "You'll love this."